Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Barefoot Conversation with me, Magdalene. How are you doing? How was your week? How was your weekend? I know I said it last week. I just want to know what the weekend was for you guys. And how are you enjoying, for those of us in London and maybe in some certain parts of the UK as well, how are you enjoying the weather? Finally, the sun is out. This last weekend was beautiful, especially on Sunday. It was wonderful. I know many people had barbecues because it was a barbecue weather. So how was it for you? How are things going and everything? Before I go any further, I just want to say thank you to every single person who has reached out to me both online and offline in regarding to last week's show. It really hit a nerve. It was so many people and just touched something within them, and especially when you're talking about young people dying, it's not something that you can even envisage, because these are young people, these are our leaders of tomorrow, and they are being cut off at their prime. And there is no excuse for killing. There is never an excuse for someone taking someone else's life. But then when you hear that the perpetrators are young people who are doing it for no valid reason. Like I said, there's no reason to kill a person, but when you're just doing it and it turns to something that is a game of some sort, I don't know how to explain it. So last week I just really spoke from the heart, because it's something that it's disturbing, not just to me, but so many parents out there and so many people, because it's painful. I remember speaking to a neighbor of mine last night, and we were just kind of interacting and talking and everything. And she said, "Oh, what do you do?" Because she was just coming for work and everything. And I told her, she was like, "Good, we need people who are out there working for the young people. You need to do this." So she was just like, this is a lady who was tired, just coming in from work. But she was like, "Yeah, this is what we need." And it's so important that we stand together. We come together as multi-agencies to help our young people, because I keep saying it, apart from the parents out there, we out there who are social workers, youth workers, carers, big brothers, big sisters, uncles, aunties, fathers, mothers, youth service providers, we need to come together and do something proactive. Yes, you can go out for marches and march, but then after the marches, you've walked around, what next? What next? And that just leads me to the weekend. This weekend passed again on a Saturday in my organization. So let me just briefly introduce myself. My name is Magdalene Adenike. I am the CEO of two different businesses. So the first is called Music Relief Foundation. That stemmed up from my personal experience being a teen mother 18 years ago, and my expertise as a musician. So I combined both together, and I said, how can I be able to give back and support, most especially at that time, to other teen moms like myself? But it has grown and evolved to something even bigger than that. So we're now working with youth to be able to empower them, helping them to unleash their creative spirit using the power of music and the creative arts. So this Saturday gone, we had a visit from our borough commander. So it was very special to us, because he's the first Black borough commander right here in Croydon. So he came along, and he came along with 3 of his uniformed colleagues to have a discussion with the young people. And there were so many different things that were being said. And one of the things that was coming out from the young people was that, okay, we get many speeches and talks and everything, that people come to our school, the police or other people come to our school and talk to us about gang activities, don't carry knives, all of these things. We hear that, but then what next after that? We hear that. It's like almost one particular child was saying, we get it every year. So it's something that's constant every year. But then we're saying, what next? So you're telling me don't carry a knife, don't carry a knife. The next thing I'm going to want to do is want to carry a knife, because you're telling me not to carry a knife, because I want to be protected, and all of these things. So some of the things that were coming out from the conversation between the police officers and the young people. I said, I run 2 businesses, and the second business is called, I'm the CEO and founder of Magdalene Adenike. And so this came about from a direct result of running the first business, when I found that women also needed the support. But obviously I can't give them that same support on the music relief. So Magdalene was formed in a sense, to provide and to coach women who are struggling to find their purpose in life, helping them to identify, to connect or reconnect in order for them to live a purposeful life. And that is what I'm about, living a purposeful life. Is it easy? It's not an easy task. I won't lie to you and tell you it's an easy task. Believe you me, it's not an easy task. But the fulfillment I get on a daily basis is the understanding that I am walking in my purpose. And that's what I do for other women, to help them walk in their purpose so that we don't live a frustrated life, irrespective of the challenges that we may face. So let me just go straight into today's show. Today's show is another great one. And I just wanted to put a spanner in the works and just really get people talking again, because that's what I want us to do. So it's not just talking, because when we have business at the forefront of the mind, we then be geared up to want to do something and then begin to do that something that we have in mind. So today's topic says, are parents to blame for the misbehaviors and criminalities of their children? Are parents to blame? Do we blame the parents? Are the parents the one that we must look at to blame when we hear about children? Because they are children, irrespective of what age they want to say this, they're adult, they're this, they are children. Because a sane mind, a grown and mature mind would not say to themselves, oh, because this person looked at me, or this person said something about me, I'm going to take a knife, I'm going to come and kill that person, or carry a gun. No, why would you do that? Why? Outside of the consequences that is accrued to that person. But why would you sit down and begin to think that you want to harm another human being? I don't understand. I don't get it. Anyways, are parents to blame for the misbehaviors and criminalities of their children? So what did I write down? I said, what are children learning from home? How are we as parents and first role models impacting our children's lives? Are we to blame at all? Or is it all down to external influences? You know me, I'm always throwing out the questions out there, and I want to hear from you guys. I really want to hear from you what you are thinking. Are the parents to blame? So as a parent myself, am I to blame for if my children, God forbid, go out there and begin to misbehave and come into criminal activities, God forbid, like I said, am I to blame as a parent? Am I the cause of that problem? And so obviously, I began to think about all of these things and research more, which I love to do. And then another thing that was brought up on Saturday from the police, actually, we were talking about gangs, and they needed to clarify what gangs is. When people come together, when a group of people come together, that is a gang or a squad, it's like a family. Doesn't necessarily mean they are doing anything wrong. It's just a group of friends who come together, hang out together, and they call themselves a gang or they call themselves a squad. I remember when I was at school, there was 5 of us, so we used to call ourselves Spice Girls. So I think it was Posh. I was Posh, and then we had Ginger, we had obviously Posh, we had Scary Spice, we had Sporty Spice, we had Baby Spice. So I was Posh in our little gang then at that time. So yeah, so I saw, obviously, as I was reading up, and it says, what is a gang? So one of the things I stumbled on when doing my research is a group may be classed as a gang if it has a name, has a defined territory. So that's obviously gangs who are committing criminal activities, uses a specific color, particularly in clothing, uses specific hand gestures or signs, uses symbols shown in tattoos or graffiti. But it says a group of young people is not necessarily a gang. Teens often find safety in numbers through staying with a particular group of friends and usually like to avoid trouble. Knowing what a gang is and how it is classified can be useful for parents who are worried about their child. So like going back to what was being said on Saturday, they said coming together, you can come together and say, oh, this is my gang of friends, but it's just because it's a group of you, you're coming together and you hang out together, but you're not necessarily doing anything criminal. That's a gang in a different sense, but having to understand. So as parents and carers and adults and all people who are worried about this child, we need to be able to understand what that definition means when your child's in a gang, what type of gang, or you think that your child is in a gang, should I say, what type of gang are they in? So that's why this thing is breaking it down, saying they have a name, they're in defined territory, they have specific color and their clothing, they use specific hand gestures using symbols and showing in tattoos or graffiti, and they have to admit membership to a group, is identified by a reliable informant as a gang member, lives or frequents a gang's area and adopts in styles of dress and all that, has been arrested in the company of identified gang members for offenses consistent with gang activities. So let me just go quickly to the definition and then come back to the topic of today. It says, while the definition of a gang is quite vague, one important thing to note is that membership or association with a particular group of people is not illegal in itself. However, gangs are often linked to criminal activities. So most of the time, we may use the word most of the time when we use this word gang, especially at this particular time, we are referring to obviously a group of people who are committing criminal activities. So for like the 5 of us back in my time in school, it was a group of us. I said a group of us. So we didn't use the word gang, so we were in a group. So there was 5 of us, and we like I said, we were calling ourselves Spice Girls, and I was posh. So we have to be very clear with the definition. So even going back to what the police were saying, we have to be very clear with the definition of gangs. A group of people hanging together, they may call themselves a gang, but not necessarily in a criminal activity way. But I want to quickly come back to today's topic if I go back to this research, because there's a reason why. As parents, are we to blame for the misbehaviors and the criminalities of our children? Because remember, as parents, we are the first role models. We are the first role models that the children will see before they get exposed to school and to other different places. What are we teaching the children? How is the home environment? Is it conducive for the child to grow up and have peace of mind? Is it war? Are there warring taking place? When I talk about war, is it constant argument, constant fighting between both parents and shouting, and the parents at home, are they showing a good example for the children? A couple of weeks ago, I talked about indirectly teaching your child to lie. When a parent has a phone call and the child happens to pick up the call, and the parent says to the child or whispers to the child, tell them I'm not here. So you're indirectly lying to that child. So what you're teaching that child in the home setting is how to lie. So if that child goes out and starts to lie, and then as a result of that, like gets his or himself in trouble, who is to blame in that scenario? Do you say, oh no, do you come as a parent and say, why did you learn all this lying from? But then if the child turned around and said to you, but I learned it from you because you used to tell me to tell that person when they call, tell them not around. So it may seem minor, but when you put all these minor things together, it becomes part of a bigger picture. And so my question now, are we to blame? Because there's one thing to have the child, but there's another thing to show the child the right way that he or she should follow. Obviously, as parents, when a child grows up to a certain point, you're not going to be with the child at every given time. But the thing is, your place is to play your part. You need to play your part in a sense of laying a positive foundation for the child. So laying a good example for the child to see and say, this is what my parent does. Because most children will not do what they don't know. They do what they see. They do what they hear, and they will copy. They will copy what they see. Let me continue. He says, let me go back. One thing in my place of doing researching, I just want to say, and I don't want anybody to take this in the wrong way. When the father and the mother are fighting and constantly bickering, and then it comes to a place that there's a family breakdown, most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, is the man that leaves the home. How does that impact on the child? What is the impact of that on the child when there is no father figure in the house? How does that impact on the child? So those are things I wanted to kind of check everything out, to kind of have a balance on everything, so that it gives us an understanding on whether or not parents are to blame. That's another question. Are parents to blame? Some parents can say, no, put my hands up, I have nothing to do with this. I don't know. So let me just read out some of the things that was just going through my head as I was researching. So I just want, obviously, so you understand my thought pattern in all of this. And I said, it's really hard to be a parent when you are saying no to certain things, but external influences are saying yes. So your child may say, oh, I want to go to a party, I want to do this, I want to do that. And when I talk about external influences, their friends are probably going to that party, and then your child is, and he or she wants to go to that party. And you as a parent is saying, I've heard of some certain people who said to their children, do not go to a certain party, especially a particular woman. She told her child, don't go to this party. the child still went to that party. Unfortunately, that child was killed. He was not part of the issue, because before he got there, there was a fight, and then the person that did the killing went out to his car to get, I think, a gun or a knife. I can't remember how the story went. So that child just happened to come and stand in that same spot. So he was at the wrong place at the wrong time, and then obviously he got the brunt of it and he died. So when a parent is saying no, but the child is saying yes because his friends are saying, oh, we're going to this party, this person's going to be there, that person's going to be there, what is the parent to do? Okay. He says, then I said, going back to what I said about the family breakdown, when the man is no longer in the home, I said men need to be more present and speak out, that their voices be heard. So I want to hear responses from men who are home looking after the children, and for men who are not home. So you may not be together with the mom, but how much are you involved in your life, in your child's life? So even if you are the mom and no longer together, but how much are you still involved in the child's life? That is a question that we need to think of and answer genuinely. Men need to be more present and speak out, that their voices be heard. Their voices be heard, because we know the statistics about single parents, especially single parents who happen to be the mom with the children. And it's not saying that it's all single parents that have children that are out there. I'm not trying to say that, but when you look at this, it seems to be that it's more children who are classed as troublesome or having issues seem to come from single parents with just a mom at home. Where are the men? That's a question. Where are the men? Where are the men? Are they being hindered? Someone say, oh, the woman doesn't allow me to see the child, or she doesn't allow me to spend time with the child. But what more can we do? I just want to know. This is a question. I'm not trying to assume anything. I'm just asking questions. It says, when a man is missing from the home, the male persona becomes a mystery in the woman's life. When a man is missing from the home, the male persona becomes a mystery in the woman's life. A very dear friend who I class as a mom sent me 2 videos yesterday, well actually 3, but I'm going to talk about 2, from the great televangelist T.D. Jakes. And actually got this from him when I was listening to it. This line I just quoted about the male persona becoming a mystery. And he said, women learn about men from other women. I said, wow. Because he said, when a woman has gone through a bad breakup of a man, and obviously there's still some animosity with it, she tends to tell her girlfriend and tells her girlfriend, oh girl, that man is this, that man is that. So you're planting an image of a man in a negative way into another woman's life. And so that other woman now will, if she doesn't obviously make up her own mind for herself, will almost be expecting any man to come be bad, or maybe from her part, or that same woman who was planting that seed. So any other man that comes, she already has that preconceived notion in her mind that this man is going to do her bad because of her previous relationship. When a man is missing from the home, the male persona becomes a mystery in the woman's life. He says, we always crave what we didn't get. We always crave. So just imagine the girl child at home. There is no father figure in the house. So when she grows up, she gets to a point, she's craving for that father figure. She wants that father figure. And according to what T.D. Jakes says, he said, when we're craving for that father figure, because that male persona is a mystery, it tends to lead to promiscuity, vulnerability, and all the like, because you are looking for that father figure from the men, and then the man happens to say 1 or 2 things, and then you see she jumps into this, and then it becomes like a vicious circle. I'm not trying to put all the blame on men, please don't get me wrong. It's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to bash any man here. I love men. But what I'm trying to say is that my question is, are parents to blame? Are parents to blame? If the man and the woman are no longer together, should it then be only the woman's sole responsibility to look after the child that both male and female lay down together to make? First question. Second question. If the man and the woman are no longer together, should the woman then, man happens to be the one that leaves, should the woman then carry all that anger because of that breakdown of her relationship towards the child, to poison the child or the children at home, to make them have to grow up with a sense of negativity and hatred for that father figure? And then when they go out there, they begin to crave that family love, but crave it in a wrong way. They crave it in a wrong way, and they will begin to find all of these things. Is that what's happening? Is that what's happening? Is that what is causing our children to go out and harming themselves and misbehaving and joining gangs, the criminal ones, and becoming criminals themselves? I'm asking a question. So going back to this particular one I was reading on, it says reasons a young person might join a gang: for protection, but are parents not supposed to protect their children? Peer pressure, are parents not supposed to be interacting with their children and giving them time, having time for them? So it's not just about being in the house and being on your phone or doing your work, but actually creating time for them. So even if it's just a case of sitting down and watching anything that they're watching, it's not your cup of tea, or maybe that's the time you have family time together. Should you not be doing that? The young person wants to gain status and respect. Are parents not supposed to be teaching their children the morals of life, rights and wrongs? Should they not learn respect and gain values of themselves from home, from their parents? Because they want to claim ownership of territories. Are parents not supposed to be teaching their children that, listen, sister, but be focused, run after your purpose, feed your dream, and you will accomplish what you need to accomplish? For excitement, why should the home be a battle zone that the child needs to go out to get excitement? For money from crime, if the parents don't have money, should they not be able to be open to the child and teach them how to be contented? Yes, we don't have money, but at least there's love. I'm not saying that love is everything, because you need money, but at least that sense of contentment, should that not be built in within the child? And this is the one that really pains me. To escape negative situations at home, such as neglect or abuse. So let me break this down now. Neglect or abuse, that's what really pains me there. You go through that process of carrying a child, the woman now, for 9 months, for the pains and everything. And then you finally get to the D-Day and you have that child, whether through natural birth or C-section, cesarean birth. Either ways is pain. Then you give birth to that child, and then you neglect that child. Why then did you go through that process in the first place? Why did you carry that child for 9 months? You're going to neglect that child. You neglect that child for whatever reason, or then you begin to abuse the child. I can't figure out how a father who gives birth to a child, whether a girl child or boy child, can come and lay down with that same child to sexually abuse the child. That is immoral. That is sickness. Bottom line, there's no justification for that. Whether a parent, an uncle, an auntie, a stranger, that is wrong. Wrong. That is a message. If you don't get any other message, get this message. That is wrong. That is wrong. You don't do that. A child should be a child and be free for he or herself to become the man or the woman that God himself, our creator, has made that child to be. Stop tampering with a child's potential. Stop tampering with a child's destiny, that they then grow up and not have the opportunity of having a good, solid, great family foundation and become a nuisance in the society. That's the bottom line. When a child doesn't have what they're supposed to have in the home, he or she goes out seeking it, rightly or wrongly, they go out seeking it. And when they go out seeking it, 98% of the time, they fall into the wrong hands, for goodness sake. What are we doing? If you are not going to be able to look after the child, and you have no business bringing a child into the world, full stop, that's it, period. There's no negotiation about that. I am really upset when I hear these stories about little children being molested, especially by their own parents who are supposed to protect them. What is wrong with the psyche of that parent? And you see this little frame, this little tiny frame, and then you want to impose, oh God, I'm not even trying to visualize it because it's so, I can't, it's sick. This is me, Magdalene, this is my platform, so I'm speaking from the depth of my heart. Are parents to blame for the misbehavior and the criminalities of their children? Hell, yes, they are. They are. That's me. That's me saying it. They are. We are, because I'm a parent. So we are. Because we are the number one role models for the children. Let me tell you something. He says, as a parent, this is familylives.org.uk. So it's not me reading up my words. Familylives.org.uk. Google them up. Familylives.org.uk. It says, as a parent, you can help protect your son or your daughter by understanding the issues, recognizing the signs, and getting further help and support if you need it. If you need to knock down doors, no, actually, let me rephrase that. If you need to break down doors in order for you to support your child, then that is your number one priority. As usual, my time is over, but before I go, last week Tuesday, I talked about crime and the knife crime. That was on Tuesday. This is another child that was taken. Well, he's 20, but he's still a child. He was taken by the cinema with his girlfriend in East London. Why? Because he looked at the group of boys in the eyeball. He looked at them eye to eye. And does that warrant that this boy to die, for him to lose his life? And he just jumped on him. His girlfriend stood in fear. She was shocked. What could she do? She was shocked. And one of them took a knife and stabbed this child. A case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. All he did was just look at them. All he did was just look at them. And that's one of the things we talked about on Saturday. All this boy did was to look at them. This is yesterday's paper, the Evening Standard. It was in yesterday's paper, Evening Standard. What are we doing? What are we doing? A child is not an accessory. A child for the women is not a Gucci bag. It's not a Chanel chain or perfume. No. It's not. It's not a Louis Vuitton shoe. That's not what a child is. A child is a living, breathing being that needs to be looked after, needs to be nourished, needs to be loved, needs to be catered for. His or her needs needs to be taken as priority. So regardless of how angry or tired or frustrated you are from work or whatever, once you come indoors, have a way to kind of de-stress yourself when you enter your house and spend time with your children, especially when they're young. Money is not so much the issue, but the fact that they know that father or mother is there for them, and will knock down doors for them, break down doors for them. That is what a child needs. So I'm saying to you out there, every single parent that will watch this video, share this video with your friends, with your schools, in your churches, in your mosques, in your temples, in your youth centers, wherever you need to share it. And speak to yourselves, especially as parents. Enough of the time of wasting on watching all this nonsense out there. I'm not going to mention any TV programs because there's a lot of rubbish out there. I'm sorry. There's a lot of rubbish that is being aired on TV. Enough of that, and start looking after the children. Yesterday, I was taking the kids to school. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. And I saw a lady, she was pushing a buggy. She had a baby in a bucket, tiny, a newborn baby. She had another one that she was holding. It's another little girl, a little child. This was a girl with a dummy in the mouth. That one not be more than 2. That one's with a nappy. And then another child, and then another child. So she was going, it was the eldest who was in primary school. Probably he won't be more than year 2. She was taking him to school. And then, so in my head, and I was like, this is one woman with 4 children under 10 years old. She's going to drop off one, so that's one less child during the course of the day. Then you still have the other 3 who are going to be screaming, and all the rest of them, she just want to pull her hair out. What do you do with them? I can truly identify in a sense of especially when the children are on holiday, not having all 4 of them under 10. But I mean, when they're on holiday, and this one is screaming, no, it's for me. That one is for me. And my baby's crying every second. You just want to pull your hair out. But we have to have a better coping mechanism to ensure that we still create time for them, even if there is no money in the pockets. Taking them to the park and kicking a ball around, they value it because it's time spent with the parent. Sitting down and doing their homework with them, they value it because it's time spent with their parent. Talking to them about the issues of life, finding out from them, how was school today? They value it because it's time spent with their parents. Let us not get it twisted that because you bought them clothes, then you've done your job. There is much more than that. If a parent is not able to do more than just buying the children clothes, then he or she needs to relinquish his or her parental right to somebody else who is more than capable to do it. If you are not able to look after the children, relinquish your parental right and let somebody else step into the place. Because enough is enough of our young people being brought up into this world and being messed up without having the opportunity to become the man or the woman God had already preordained for them to be. My time is gone already. My time is gone already. I have not even scratched the surface of what I want to say. But my message to us today is, as parents, I am saying, yes, we are to blame. We are to blame. Let's not sugarcoat it. We are to blame because we need to take away self. When you become a parent, it's no longer about you. It's about the child or the children, as the case may be. Many people may not agree with me, but this is my platform and my opinions. But I would love to hear from you guys. I would love to hear from you guys because the discussion must start. But it's not just about starting the discussion, but it's about being able to reflect on what I have said and look back on your own personal life and see how you have gone wrong or what you need to do to adjust and get things right. It doesn't mean one parent is better than the other, please. I want to get that clear. It doesn't mean one parent is better than the other. There are many single parents out there, males or females, who the partners have left, or maybe there's been a loss in the family, who are doing a fantastic work and bringing up their children in a great way. So please don't get it wrong. Don't say Magdalene said, oh, because there's no man, the child is doomed. No. I'm just giving you research, and I'm just trying to say, for those who are in the situation that are fighting with a spouse because they're no longer together, that you can't see my child, you need to fix up. I'm sorry, but you just need to fix up. Until next time, this is Magdalene Adenike presenting Barefoot Conversation. Please join in the conversation, leave in your comments, subscribe to my channel, and let me hear from you. And thank you to all of you who are already doing so. God bless you. Bye for now, and see you next week. Bye for now.